We are here taking Docs to the next level. So you will be hearing from three of us today. My name is Megan Eric, and next you'll be hearing from Ashana Wongwing and Dr. Sarah Thomas. So we'll all be sharing some of our favorite features of Docs with you today. All right, so the first thing we want to find out, though, is a little bit about how you already use Google Docs. So we have three ways that you could tell us that. You can click the link that I just pasted into chat, or if you have your phone with you and you want to scan the QR code to go to the activity, you can do that. Or you can type in the web address you see here and enter the code. I think the QR code or the link in chat are probably the easiest. And once you get there, you'll see a selection of different features in Docs. It looks similar to this, and you can slide your bar or your dot to the right to let us know how often you use these various features in Docs. So take just a moment to do that. Again, the link is in chat. That's probably the easiest way to get to it. I'll paste it again for those who just joined. And if you want to see how your colleagues are doing, this is kind of how as a group, what is reflecting on how we're using Docs together. So it looks like links are a big one. That's always one of the easiest things to do when we're using digital tools, right, to make it easy to navigate. But we do have some of us using table of contents, headers and footers, tables, not so much for voice typing. So we are going to show you each of these today. And even if you're already using these tools, you may discover new ways to use them or new things to do. All right, so I see one person said they can't open the link. I'll paste it one more time. And if that doesn't work, you can always go to what you see here at the top of my screen, menti.com, and use the code 411241. Okay. All right, so thank you for those who contribute to this question. We have one more question to find out a little bit about how you're using Docs. And I'm going to just go ahead and move us to that question here. Oops, sorry about that, a little click happy. All right, so this is more of an open response question. We want to know what's the challenge that you're having that you're hoping to solve as a result of today's session. So what's that one thing you're like, man, if Docs only did this, what does that thing for you? All right, so continue. I see 2 votes for mail merge. Unfortunately, we aren't going to talk about mail merge today. In fact, we usually talk about mail merge in our advanced sheets class because the work for mail merges tend to actually happen in Google Sheets, not so much in Google Docs. So you could learn about a feature called Auto Crash, or there's a few other ones that I can't think of right now, but they're all actually Sheets tools, not Docs tools. All right, so I'm going to jump back to the presentation just to move us forward because I know we only have an hour. Here is a quick look at what will be the different floors we'll be visiting today to highlight some of our favorite features in Docs. So let's take a look at a quick review. We know that Google Drive is the place where all of our Google Docs are stored. It's the place where we can create, store, edit, share our files. All of that happens in Drive, and Drive includes a lot of tools, but today we are focusing just on Docs, which is the one that is similar to Microsoft Word. Okay, and because this is our advanced class, we're going to assume that you have some of the basic skills, and we're just going to highlight some of the features that you may not be using often. So to help us do that today, we actually have a template for us that'll make it a little bit easier for you to do the work with us. And thank you, Sarah has pasted that link into chat. So if you would click the link in chat, if it doesn't work, you can enter bit.ly/JanDocs for January Docs. And that'll take you to a template, and it looks like what you see over here on the right. When you see that, you can click the blue Use Template button. So we'll all start from the same kind of space. So you didn't have to come up with content. We're just going to be applying formatting to content that already exists. All right, so since Sarah has a link in chat, I'm going to actually jump over to the template and show you how that works. So I'm just going to click the blue Use Template button in the top right corner. And I'll just throw in a quick tip here. For those of you who need a quick way to start a blank document, you can just do docs.new, and that'll take you to a very blank one. So if you can't get our template to work, just drop docs.new in your address bar, and you'll get a blank document, okay? All right, but here we are. You can see, pretty simple. We're going to take it from this to something a little bit more like this, with just a few clicks. Now, clearly we haven't filled it up with actual details. We're just worried about sort of the format and the structure today. All right, so I'm going to take us back here. And we are going to focus on headers, footers, tables, and styles. So let's take a look at headers and footers real first. Headers and footers are those tools that let you have that consistent information from page to page, either at the top for a header or at the bottom. Or you can choose the odd page to have one format and the even page to have a different format. So this is good for things like titles, dates, page numbers, or even if you want to have your office website or the date the document was most recently updated included in the footer. That's a great place to have kind of that standard information. So let's take a look. We have the animation here, so when you come back to the presentation, you have this as a reference, but we're going to do it together. So let me say this. For those of you who are comfortable watching and then going to another tab and trying something, feel free. If you're somebody who likes to hear it and try it at the same time, feel free. If you're saying, you know what, I think I'm just going to sit and watch and I'll try it on my own later, that's fine too. There's no requirement for how you participate today. We just wanted to give you something in the case that you want to participate. But I'm going to demo a few of the features first. So I'm going to start by doing the header and footer. And that's just from our insert menu. Now, Google gives us like 10 ways to do everything, but here is one. So insert, headers and footers, and I'll do header. Okay. There we go. And you can see, oops, you should be able to see that my header is right up here. Now, I have the title of my document, Project Guidance, here. But maybe I want that to actually appear on every page. So I'm going to come back to my header and just type in Project Guidance. And we already know how to format, so I could maybe just make this bold and maybe make it a little bit bigger. We'll see a better way to do that in just a minute. Okay, so I put a header in. It doesn't look very exciting because I only have one page. But if I do have another page, you can see that it automatically applied there. Now, footers are going to work the same way, except footers will be at the bottom of our page. So I could go back to Insert, Footer, or I can actually just come down to sort of the bottom of my page and double click. And it actually takes me right into my footer. And here for our office, we often put @T3PGCPS, which is our Twitter handle, to make it easy for people to find that information. And we often put our website to also make that information easily available, no matter what page somebody is on. If your document has multiple pages, you're probably going to want to include page numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and just tab over a little bit. And to insert a page number, we're going to go back to that insert menu. So far, everything starts at the insert level. And instead of header and footer, we'll come down to page numbers. And here you can see it suggests, hey, do you want it at the top or do you want it at the bottom? Well, we're working in the footer. So let's go down there. And I'll choose this first option so I have a page number on the first page. and you can see it automatically inserted my page number. Now, if I want to, I could also, I don't know if you noticed it there, under Insert, I could also insert under page numbers the page count. So right now it's 1 out of 1, which isn't very exciting. But again, if I go down to that second page, you can see now it's at 1 out of 2, and we keep scrolling, and that will keep changing for us. So your headers and footers, you kind of set them at the beginning, and they just adjust for you as you need to. Okay. In that same section for headers and footers, you can see you have the option to choose a different first page, or you can click on options and also get to some of that same information for page numbers, or just turn your footer off in general. Okay. So again, those are pretty easy to drop in, and those are from our Insert menu. Moving on to our next topic, and you don't have to come back, I'm sorry. Our next one, we're going to take a look at tables. So tables are a great way for us to organize information, and it could be data, but it doesn't have to be data. Honestly, we probably aren't putting too much data into our documents. We're probably organizing information more like a chart of names or next steps. But a favorite thing I like to do to my documents, especially when I'm working collaboratively with a team, is we like to have these tables at the top of our documents that have quick access to links that we're going to need throughout. So some of our planning meetings, we have links to the folders that we're often using, or a lot of the files that we revisit throughout whatever that topic is. We have them linked at the top, so you don't have to scroll through the document to constantly find them. So let's take a look at how you can easily create something like that to put at your document. So we have these related links here at the bottom, but again, I'm suggesting that we put them in a table at the top. So we'll just come in just above description, and there's kind of nothing there. So we're going to go back to our Insert menu. And our second option down is Table. Now, if you haven't used this to insert tables before, if you come over, you'll see a little grid. And this is telling me the number of columns by the number of rows. So I'll just do a 2 by 2. So 2 columns, 2 rows. That gives me a space to put a heading and then space to put content. So something basic like this. Okay. I can see on my preview there's like this weird box blocking it, but I have no idea what that would be. All right. So the first thing, looking quickly at our sample, you can see our header row is sort of one big cell, and then we have 2 other cells. So here's how we did that. I'm just going to highlight our first 2 columns in the first row. So I just clicked inside one and dragged to the right. And you can either go back to your Format menu and Table and choose from the menu. But I find it's easier to just right-click in one of those cells and get to all of those same options. You choose what works for you. That's just, I think, while I'm there, it's a little bit easier. I'm going to merge those cells. Okay. And I don't want it to look like a real big table, so I'm just going to hover over the left border, drag it in a little bit, and then do the same thing on the right, drag that one in a little bit. And now I have a little bit smaller table sort of at the top. Okay. We can just click inside of our top row, and I'll call this important links, and maybe center my data, or maybe my title, okay? Now to save myself time, I'm gonna just come down here under related links and cut, and come up here and paste, so we don't have to take the time to type it. Okay, so we're just putting our essential things at the top. Now, the last thing I might do to this table is format my header so it looks a little bit different. In a table, we could keep it all white, or we can click inside of any individual cell. And on your toolbar, you may have to click the 3 dots like I do. You should have a paint bucket. If you click your paint bucket, you'll see your color palette. And I'm going to go ahead and choose a light color so my text still shows up. And I think I need to move my chat out of the way. There we go. And you can see now it is blue. Similarly, I can click this little drop down that appears in the top right corner. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. That appears in the top right corner of my cell. And whoops, sorry about that, still kind of zooming in. There we can choose our border options. So maybe I want to make my big border a little bit thicker. And once I've selected the border, I can come up and choose a border color or a border thickness. Choose 3 just to make it stand out, and maybe a dark blue, something to make that really stand out. And I could do the same thing down to my other cells as well. And if I choose the one that looks like a window pane, that will let me choose, that grabs all of it for me, and I could do the same thing here, okay? Well, that didn't come out right. I didn't choose the right thickness. There we go. There we go, okay? So just with a few quick details, creating a table, adding in your text, giving a little bit of formatting, and then we could go ahead and add in links to the actual resources. So I could, highlight my text and use my insert hyperlink option to link to the actual document that I want people to go to. We'll just pretend that's the document I want to link to. If that wasn't, I could go get the link and paste it in, but for the sake of today, we can pretend that's the link. Okay. I'm going to show you one more detail, and then we'll pause while we transition for me to take some additional questions, but always feel free to drop them in chat. You have 2 additional ladies here who are experts at this and always willing to help. So the last thing I want to show you is how we can use this feature. Some of us probably avoid this, right? This is our paragraph styles tool. And what this does is lets you set your style one time and then apply it every time. So think about, let's take a look at our sample. And now I do see a table of contents up here, and these styles are also critical for that. But down here, what they've done is allow me to sort of set the look and feel of certain areas of my document. So we're going to do that over here. And I'll show you how to do it, and then if you want to try it out, great. So I'm going to come to description and just highlight that text. And I'm going to change it from normal text to heading 1. And I need to zoom out for a second. Sorry about that. I've zoomed in so much, I can't see all my choices. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to come up and click on heading 1 and just say apply heading 1. And I'll repeat that and do that to each of these little sections. And you're thinking, well, that's not fun, Megan. I have to click everywhere to make the change. We do have to set it up the first time. So when you're setting up your document, there may be a little bit of extra work involved. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Now notice those are all heading 1. That means they're the top level. But under my rubric section, these are examples, or these are subsections of my rubric. So I don't want to make these heading 1s. I'm going to make these heading 2. And that, when you see the table of contents soon, is going to be really important because that will determine how they show up in your table of contents. Now, looking at this, I'm thinking, wow, I really wish that these looked different. I don't like the font or the size. So I'm going to change one and show you how you can change them all. So I'm going to click on description, and let's say I actually think heading 1 should be bold, and maybe I want to make it blue. Okay? I don't want to go and change each one. Instead, I'm going to go back to my Styles menu, back to Heading 1, and you'll see I have this option, Update Heading 1 to match. So I'm going to click that, and now it's changed anything that was labeled Heading 1 has now been adjusted. And similarly, I could do the same thing. Now they're right next to each other, so it's not as big of a deal, but I could say maybe I want Heading 2 to be a little bit smaller, italics, and maybe even like a lighter blue. Let's just say for fun. And then when I change all of my Heading 2s, they all match. So this isn't a very lengthy document, but if it were over multiple pages and I had multiple headings, this would be really helpful for me. Okay? The last thing I'm going to do is come up to my important links, and I can do the same thing here. I can still even use maybe I'll put a subtitle and make that, I don't like how I'll make that a title and make that stand out. Okay? So just to recap, the 3 features we looked at in terms of formatting our document. We took a look at headers and footers to give our document consistent information. We took a look at tables to provide some structure and organization. We looked at it in terms for links, but it really could be used in multiple ways. And then finally, we took a look at paragraph styles as a way to apply consistent formatting, but also to quickly update portions of your document. We've also gotten our document ready to have a table of contents. So before we, or while we step into the elevator to move to the 3rd floor, I'm going to turn it over to Ashana. I'll take, if there's any questions, please feel free to drop those into chat, and I'd be happy to address them.
All right, so we're going to talk about the table of contents and the bookmarks and internal links. So for the table of contents, you saw that Megan actually input the title, she input different headings, as well as the she did the heading 1, heading 2, and so the easy part is once that portion is done, adding a table of contents actually makes everything look really nice and in order. And a lot of times table of contents are used for, like, say, a rolling agenda, and you can also link important dates to the table of contents. So in order to add a table of contents, you click Insert, and then you will go to Table of Contents at the bottom, and you can actually choose it to be numbered or just with the titles, the headings, and the subheadings. All right. I'm going to choose the first one. You'll have the numbers, the page numbers on there as well. I'm going to use the page numbers. So as you can see, it actually took the different headings that Megan created, and it put them in a nice table of contents format. You could always type at the top of it, table of contents. All right, and then I can see my table of contents reflects the different things in the document. But what if I wanted to add to my document, right? Let's say under my rubric, I also had an option for participation. Right? And I want to, I didn't do that. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. All right. So I added participation because that's another one of my headings, and I'm going to choose that. I'm going to go to Format, Paragraph Styles, and I'm going to make that a heading 2. Okay? Oops. paragraph styles and heading 2, apply heading 2. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to go back up to the top to my table of contents and click refresh. And you can see it added participation to that rubric section. So if you want to make any changes to your topics, your headings in your table of contents, you just simply add it where you would like for it to go, and then you will then create the type of paragraph style you want to use, if it's going to be a heading 1, heading 2, whatever that may be, and then you refresh the table of contents by clicking on it, and there's a little refresh icon in the upper left corner, okay? All right, now we're going to go back to the presentation. I'm going to go back to the hallway, and let's talk about bookmarks and internal links. So you can add a bookmark to a part of the document that links to another portion of the document. Oftentimes you see those, I've seen them a lot of times in documents that have many pages. At the bottom of the page, there's a back to the top or return to top link at the bottom of, in the header, in the footer of each page that will return you to the table of contents or something, right? So, and that can be hyperlinked, right? So I'm going to show you how to insert a bookmark and to create an internal link that returns to that bookmark, okay? So back to our document. All right, so at the bottom of my first page, I'm going to click in the footer, and I'm actually going to go to the right, and I'm going to type return to top. All right. I actually did not put my bookmark yet. I was supposed to do that first. So I'm going to go back to the top and go to important links, and I'm going to insert my bookmark. See, it looks like a little blue bookmark. All right. So my bookmark is right at the top of the page, and where I typed return to top, I'm going to hyperlink those words. So by highlighting the words and clicking on the link icon, insert link, it allows me, typically people insert links from URLs. In this case, I'm inserting a link from within the document, and it's actually a bookmark, right? So if I click on this little arrow to the left of bookmarks, I can see where I bookmarked the important links, right? And I can click apply. And now at the bottom of each of my pages, I can see there's a link to return to the top of the document. So if I click on that link, it will return me to the top of the document. So I showed you how to insert a bookmark and then create an internal link, all right? I'm going to go back to the presentation. So during this part of the presentation, we reviewed inserting a table of contents and inserting bookmarks and internal links. And I'm getting ready to pass this over to Sarah. And if you have any questions about this section, then you can put them in the chat while we transition to Sarah, okay? Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing fantastic. So we are about to go to our third and final section. Let me just go ahead and share my screen quickly. All right, so now hopefully you all are seeing our fourth floor, which is editing hacks. So we're going to be talking about two editing hacks specifically, the first one being voice typing, second one being Format Painter. So without any further ado, we're going to go first to voice typing. So voice typing is a tool I love to use because you can use it to really take notes quickly, or you can use it with students who may be new to typing, or maybe they're learning English, or maybe they're primary students. So I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this. I kind of made a copy of Megan's template. So this is it right here. But just to show you voice typing, I'm going to go to Tools and down to Voice Typing in the menu. If you are a keyboard shortcut person, they have a keyboard shortcut right there for you. with the Command-Shift-S if you're on a Mac. So voice typing, you will get this microphone icon that pops up. Perhaps the very first time you do it, then it might ask you to allow it in your Chrome settings, and you can just click on allow. But really, all you have to do is you just click the microphone to speak, and you'll be amazed, right? I remember at the beginning of this session when we asked you all if you were familiar with voice typing, and a lot of people said that they were not. So the very first time I saw it, it knocked my socks off. So I accidentally started talking before I was ready to, but you can see that I'm talking right now, and it's doing a really good job of transcribing what I'm saying. And if I want to be really fancy, I can put in punctuation. Watch this. Period. Now I am talking, and it is giving me a different sentence, period. I can even use other punctuation, comma, just like that, period. New line, the end, period. And when I'm done, I just click on the microphone. And you see, sometimes it's not perfect. It said Dan right there, but when I go in and, you know, I can do my, I can right click and it'll give suggestions, but I guess I should just speak more clearly. I can always go in and edit it just like that. For anyone who teaches world languages out there, then you might find this very helpful. When you go to the drop-down menu, you can pick all kinds of different languages. So you can pick Spanish, I'll pick French. Okay, and here's a little test. I used to work at a French immersion school, so. Bonjour, virgule, c'est moi, point. Je fais un essai maintenant, point. Okay, and you see it just did it in French, so that's pretty cool. Now, one thing to note is that you need to be using the Google Chrome browser in order for that to work. If you try to get it to work on Safari, if you try to get it to work on Firefox, then it's not going to work for you. So Google plays nicely with other Google tools, so use Chrome if you want to use voice typing. So that's one thing that really kind of knocked my socks off the first time I learned about it. All right, so I'm seeing, let me see, I'm checking chat. Okay, so there's nothing so far about voice typing, but if you do have questions about voice typing, feel free to drop those. Next up, we're going to talk about Format Painter. This is another thing that is just super cool, super helpful. You'll see from the GIF on the left that all of these names came in different formats, but you can use Format Painter to copy, like, to make them all standard very quickly. So you can make your docs look better in an instant. Let me give you an example. So I took this template that Megan had shared with us at the beginning, and I purposely messed some things up. You see here we have like different fonts, different sizes. This is, you know, this is not what I want. I want it to look good. I want it to all be the same fonts and all the same size. So what I can do is I will go to what I want it to be. So let's say I want it to be all, whatever this is, Arial 11. So I click on that, and then I click on this paint format icon. And once I do that, then I can just, yeah, this is not Arial 11, neither is this. Look at that, yay! But mistakenly, I did it on one that was centered, so I should have done it on one of the left ones. So it will also pick up on the alignment, so that's good to know. But yeah, so this is really good stuff right here in terms of the Format Painter. So I'm looking to see if there's any questions in chat about the Format Painter. Please feel free to drop them. I know we're educators, so I'll give us a little bit of wait time. Absolutely, I would love to do it again. So let me just do undo. I'm going to show you like a better way to that I could have done this, but just for the sake of time and continuity, then I just went and undid what I just did. So for Format Painter, then let's say that I want these items. These are not Arial 11. You see everything else is Arial 11, but this is Montserrat 11. I want it to be Arial. This is Arial 9. No, I want all of it to be Arial 11. So what I'll do is I will select what I want it to look like. the same format. I'll select that. I will click on this paint format icon, and then I would just click and drag this over what I want it to change. And boom, there it is, just like that. So this is a really cool tool. I love it, okay? And I just did a quick demo of Format Painter. So excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. So moving on, we're back to our elevator. So we have 3 more things that we're going to show you, and actually 2 of these are in one. So we're going to go to our collaboration hacks. So floor number 5, here we go. So we have our collaborator options, and this actually has like a little secret bonus Easter egg that we'll share with you as well. And then we'll also talk about version history. And I feel like I just mistakenly closed out the doc. Okay, so collaborator options. This is just, Google Docs is great. It's kind of like a fast food restaurant. I forgot which one says have it your way, but that's exactly what it is. You can take control of your sharing. You can decide who has access. So this is really cool. So let me show you. When I'm here on my sample doc, then if you've been in a Google Docs class before, or you've used Google Docs before, you probably already know about this share button. It looks a little different than it used to, and we'll go through that in just a second. But just like before, you can put in someone's email address. I could put in Megan, I can put in Ashana, okay? And then just like before, I can select their access, so I'll let them be editors. I could also put in a message here if I want them to, if I want to, but I don't want to clog their inboxes, so I will uncheck this. And I'm going to share it. So this should be pretty familiar, just like before. So now Megan and Ashana both have access, and I can always go in and change their access level from editor to commenter to viewer if I want to, just like before. I could even give them temporary access. So like if I wanted to put my expiration, it has now moved under this menu, okay? So I can make it expire whenever I want it to. Right now, Ashana is, hers is set to expire in a little under a month. I'm gonna remove that expiration. And then I would have to go back in and save it if I wanted to. I'm gonna make her an editor again. All right, and then I could also make her the owner. So if there's someone else in PGCPS, I just got an email not too long ago from someone saying that they were thinking of retiring, but they wanted to make sure that people could still access their documents. So what I suggested them to do was to make the other person the owner, or I could remove access, okay? So just like before. And down at the bottom, how there's get link, then right now it's restricted, so it's on the tightest level of security. Only Megan, Ashana, and myself can access it. Or I could click this button to change the link to PGCPS and see if I want people to view it, comment, or edit it. Or I could change it back to restricted, or anyone with the link if I want it open to the public. All right, so that is pretty cool. But wait, how did they say it on the infomercial? But wait, there's more. So there's some more that we're going to show you. Down here, and we're going to give you access to the slides. In this box, there's a free sample. This is a post from Tony Vincent, who is a fantastic educator. I forgot exactly where he's located. I want to say in the Midwest. But he has some Google document URL tricks. So this will look pretty familiar to you. So because we all used Megan's template at the beginning. So they show you how to do that on here. So there's a way to kind of change the URL. So to change the link, and I'll demo it just to show you. But let's say that we want to force a copy of our document. So you'll see down here the make a copy link. So when I go in and I have my PGCPS link, then I can copy the link. When I come up here to the top and paste it, you'll see that the word edit is there. So if I were to go to that link, then you see it just opens that same document. Now, let me show you something cool. If I were to take that same exact link, and you see where it says the word edit, and if I were to change this to copy, then now when people go to that link, it's going to give them this screen. Would you like to make a copy of blah, blah, blah? And you can make a copy, and it'll leave your original intact. So that's pretty cool. There's some other tricks on here, too. Make a copy with comments. So just like how it said, make a template. This is what Megan did. So we would do that same exact thing, except instead of edit, then we would change it to /template/preview. So this is in the shared presentation that you will receive. We'll give you the last slide as soon as we're done. But I'm changing this edit, if my fingers can work correctly for me. Okay. I'm changing it to /template/preview. And voila, just like how Megan shared this with you earlier, it'll give you the use template option. My internet's a little slow, so that's why it's kind of being very slow. But now people can see what it looks like, and then they can click the use template. All right, so there's other tricks on here as well, such as a PDF link. So when people click on the link, then it'll turn into a PDF, and it will directly download. So that is linked on slide number 30. And when you get access to the presentation, then you can just click on this free samples. All right, and one more thing that we're going to show you, version history. So you can use this tool to revert to previous versions of a Google Doc. So this is what I was referencing before. When I hit undo, and I said that there's actually a faster way. What I could do, let me close this. What I could have done instead is that I could go to File, scroll down to Version History, and see Version History. And I see every change that has been made. Microsoft Word can't do this, you know, or maybe they can now, but back when I was using Word a lot, then this was not an option. Like if you had changed it from the last time you saved and saved again, then that earlier version was gone. But with this one, then you have access to all of the different versions that you've done, and you can just find the one you want. Like, let's say I want the janky version, so here I go. I can just go ahead and restore the version. I can also name it, so I can say messed up version if I want to, and then I'll know in my version history that this is a messed up version. I could also make a copy of this, and last but not least, I could restore this version. So if I wanted to go back to how it was originally, I can just click on restore this version. There we go, and it goes to messed up version. So one really cool thing about this, the way that I used to like it sometimes when I was teaching with students, is that I could go in, it will also show you, and I'm the only person on here right now, so, but it will also show you if someone else has edited it. So let's say that, and I hope this does not happen to any of you, so knock on wood, but let's say that I'm teaching in a Google Doc and I've shared it with the class, and someone goes in and they delete everything by mistake. So I can restore it back to a previous version, or, you know, if someone's doing something malicious and I want to see exactly who it is, then it will show me who exactly edited it at what time. And also, if I want to make sure that everyone is contributing, this is another use case. But if I wanted to do this with group projects and I want to make sure that all of my students are contributing, then I can check the version history. So it's a really good tool to have in your toolbox. So let me see. I'm seeing a question come in on chat. Okay, so how to make the doors and the elevators link to the information. This was on, this was a template slide on Slidesmania, but really it was similar to what Ashana was showing you before when she showed you, you know, how to do bookmarks and stuff like that. It was very similar to that. You were able to link to different slides within the presentation. So, but the short version, it was a template on Slidesmania. So Megan just dropped the link right there, so you'll be able to see that. All right. So at this point, we have about 5 minutes remaining. The presentation link, we will drop that in chat. let me see. Next level docs. Okay, so that is that's the link to the slides right now, so you can go back and look at any information or any clickable links on there. If you want to see our contact information, it is right here on the slide. Also, if you want to go to our T3 website, it's right there. Our T3 PGCPS info on Twitter is right there. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And if not, then we wish you a great afternoon. Before we officially go, I will turn it back over to my co-presenters to see if there's anything else that needs to be said. Okay, so I'm thinking that we are probably good. So we'll hang around for a little bit, and if we see any questions come in the chat, then we'll respond to those. But if not, then have a wonderful rest of your afternoon.